My wife texted from her parents' house. "I'm not coming home until you buy me a new SUV." I replied with one word: understood. What she didn't realize was that her ultimatum wasn't a demand, it was a declaration of war she couldn't win. 72 hours later, her father called me directly, his voice strained. "Let's talk about negotiating her surrender." Those were his words, not mine. The man who had encouraged her entitlement was suddenly trying to broker peace. But let me rewind a little. I'm 36, a systems analyst. My life is built on logic, structure, and careful planning. My wife, Claire, 34, thrived on impulse. For years, we balanced each other. I thought her spontaneity added color to my structure. I thought my stability grounded her. I was wrong. For the past year, Claire had been obsessed with upgrading her car. Her current SUV was perfectly fine, 3 years old. No issues, still under warranty. But Claire wanted the newest model. She called it an upgrade, called it unnecessary debt. The tension grew until it boiled over last week. One morning, she announced she was taking a break at her parents' house until I caved, left with a single suitcase and a smug expression, convinced I'd break first. That's when I made a decision. Instead of arguing, instead of begging, instead of escalating, the fight went silent. My reply, understood, was the start of my counter. The first step was cutting off the luxuries she'd taken for granted. I downgraded her phone plan, canceled her streaming subscriptions, and paused her gym membership that she hadn't used in months. Small, precise cuts, enough for her to notice, enough for her to panic. Within 24 hours, Claire sent her first frantic text. "Babe, why isn't my phone working properly? Did you forget to pay?" I didn't reply. Instead, I tracked every incoming message, each one a sign that my plan was working. Or by the 48-hour mark, her tone shifted. "Seriously, this is childish. Just agree to the SUV and we can move past this." Still, I said nothing. Silence was more powerful than any argument. Then came the 72-hour mark. My phone buzzed not from Claire, but from her father. A man who had always dismissed my practicality was suddenly on the line, talking about negotiating her surrender. That was the moment I realized the balance of power had shifted completely. I wasn't about to waste it. When Claire's father called me, I almost laughed. This was the same man who once told me, "If you can't keep my daughter happy, maybe you shouldn't have married her." He was trying to negotiate like this was a hostage situation. Cleared his throat. "She's upset. You know how Claire gets. Just buy the car and let's move on. It's not worth all this." His tone was smooth, but underneath I could hear the desperation. For years, her parents had enabled her. Whenever Claire wanted something, they backed her up, making me look like the bad guy for setting boundaries. Vacations, shopping sprees, the dream house. She pressured me into every time I said no, they said yes. I became the villain for using logic. But now they couldn't just write a check and fix it. Claire had escalated the war too far. She made it about power, and I wasn't going to lose. I let his words hang for a moment, then said calmly, "Her surrender isn't mine to negotiate. If she wants to come home, she knows what needs to change." Silence on the other end. For once, her father had no comeback. Meanwhile, Claire kept texting. By the end of day 3, her messages had turned frantic. "Why can't I log into Netflix? Seriously, you canceled my gym. I need my phone working. This is ridiculous." I could picture her pacing her old bedroom at her parents' house, stewing. She wasn't used to being ignored, wasn't used to losing control. Then came the anger. "You're pathetic. Everyone knows you're cheap. Just buy the damn car, or I swear you'll regret it." That was the moment I knew the mask had cracked. Claire wasn't negotiating anymore. She was lashing out. And when people lash out, they make mistakes. On the 4th night, I got an unexpected call, not from Claire or her parents, but from her brother Adam. Unlike the rest of the family, Adam had always been straight with me. He didn't sugarcoat. "Look," he said, "I don't know what Claire told you, but she's unraveling over here. She's not eating. She's screaming at Mom, and Dad's losing it. What's your play?" I told him the truth. My play is simple. I'm not rewarding her tantrum. She comes home on reasonable terms, or she doesn't come home at all. Adam was quiet for a long moment, then sighed. "Honestly, good. Someone needs to put her in her place." Just be ready. She's planning something. That warning stuck with me, because if there's one thing I knew about Claire, it was that she didn't lose gracefully. And I had the feeling her next move was coming fast. Adam's warning echoed in my head. She's planning something. I didn't know what, but with Claire, it was never subtle. She thrived on spectacle, on making sure everyone knew she was the victim. The very next morning, my prediction came true. My office receptionist called me in a panic. Your wife is here with her parents, and she's causing a scene." I walked out to the lobby, and there she was, Claire, arms crossed, eyes blazing, her parents flanking her like generals. She didn't even wait for me to speak. "You froze my accounts, humiliated me, and treated me like garbage. You're going to fix this, or I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are." The lobby went silent. My employees stopped typing, pretending not to listen while very obviously listening. I could feel the heat of their stares. But instead of shouting back, I stayed calm. That's what threw Claire off. She expected a fight. Just tilted my head and said, "Are you done?" Her father tried to jump in. "Son, you're making this harder than it has to be. Just buy the car, and let's end this circus." I smiled because that's when I pulled out my phone. I had already anticipated this stunt the night before. I drafted a simple email to HR and legal, explaining the situation, attaching Claire's texts, demanding a luxury SUV as her condition for returning home. I hadn't hit send yet, till now. One tap. Message sent. I looked at her calmly. "You just created a hostile scene at my workplace. Everything you've done is documented. If you want to take this to war, I'm prepared. But you won't like the outcome." Her expression faltered. That confident smirk she always wore, it cracked. For the first time, I saw something I never thought I'd see in Claire: uncertainty. Her mother tugged on her sleeve, whispering urgently. But Claire wasn't listening. She doubled down. "You think you can intimidate me? I'll drain you dry in divorce court. My lawyer will bury you." Her words carried power, but her voice shook. And in that shake, I knew she was bluffing. Security escorted them out within minutes. My coworkers avoided eye contact, but I could already feel the whispers spreading. His wife tried to hijack the office. It wasn't how I wanted to be known, but it gave me leverage. That night, Adam texted again. "She's furious you embarrassed her, but listen, she's not done. She's talking about taking something you care about. Watch her back." I stared at that message. If Claire couldn't win with money, or intimidation, or public spectacle, what else did she think she could take from me? The question kept me awake all night. Sleep didn't come that night. Adam's warning circled in my mind like a storm. She's talking about taking something you care about. My thoughts immediately went to the house, my career, even my dog, Max. With Claire, nothing was off limits. The next morning, I found out what she meant. A certified letter sat in my mailbox, temporary restraining order. According to Claire, I was verbally abusive, financially controlling, and creating an unsafe home environment. I read it twice, then laughed bitterly. Unsafe home environment? This was the same woman demanding a luxury SUV while living rent-free in my house. But it wasn't funny. If the order stuck, I could be forced out of my own home. Claire wasn't trying to win me back anymore. She was trying to erase me. I called my lawyer, sent him copies of everything: the SUV texts, the office outburst, the financial records. Within hours, he filed a response. His words were sharp. "This is a tactical play, not a legitimate claim. Judges see through this." Still, I felt the weight of it. Walking around my house that evening, every room carried a shadow of her presence. The framed photos, the perfume bottle she'd left behind, even the half-empty wine glass on the counter. It all felt stage-like. She wanted me to feel her absence as punishment. Then Adam called. His voice was urgent. "She's not just playing legal games. She told her parents you're unfit to handle finances. They're pushing her to go after joint assets, even stuff that's only in your name." And she mentioned Max. I froze. My dog wasn't just a pet, he was family. The idea of Claire trying to use him as leverage made my stomach twist. That night, as I sat on the couch with Max's head resting on my knee, I made a decision. If Claire wanted war, I wouldn't just defend myself, I'd counterattack. Quietly, methodically. First step, I changed all my digital security, new passwords, two-factor authentication, lockdown banking alerts. Then, I contacted a private investigator I'd used once for work compliance. I gave him one instruction: find out everything she's been doing since she left. If Claire wanted to destroy me, she was going to learn what it felt like to be cornered. And as I closed my laptop, a text buzzed in. It was from Claire. Just 5 words: you won't win this time. The private investigator worked fast. By the 3rd day, I had a manila envelope in my hands. Inside, photos, receipts, and a timeline that made my jaw clench. Claire hadn't just been staying with her parents, she'd been spending nights at luxury hotels, always with the same man. He wasn't younger, like she bragged. He wasn't some secret new start. He was a married contractor, 15 years older, with 2 kids in private school, and Claire. She was covering his bills with our joint account, the one she thought I hadn't frozen yet. I felt sick. Not from heartbreak, but from the sheer stupidity of it. She'd tried to paint me as controlling, unsafe, manipulative, yet here she was, draining money to play sugar mama to a man who wasn't even free. The pie leaned back in his chair. You want my professional advice? Don't just use this in court. Drop it like a bomb. She's lying to her parents, to her lawyer, to a judge. Exposure ends her credibility. I nodded, slipping the folder into my briefcase. Exposure it is. That night, Adam came over. I spread the evidence across the table. Hotel invoices, candid photos, even screenshots of Claire's transactions. His whistle was low and sharp. She's cooked. Man, absolutely cooked. But he pointed to the receipts. She's spending way more than what you froze. Where's she getting it? Ads. When my phone buzzed again. A new notification from my bank. An attempted withdrawal from a line of credit I'd closed months ago. Only Claire would have known it even existed. Unbelievable, I muttered. She's not just reckless. She's desperate. Adam looked at me carefully. So what's next? You could nuke her in court, but you've got the nuclear option right here. He tapped the photos again, and he was right. This wasn't just a defense anymore. It was checkmate, if I played it correctly. The next morning, I scheduled a meeting with my lawyer. When I slid the folder across his desk, his eyes widened. This changes everything, he said. We can file to dismiss her restraining order, pursue financial misconduct, and even request damages. This is dynamite. I leaned back, finally feeling like I had oxygen again. But before we could act, Claire made her move. A knock rattled my office door at 10 a.m. I opened it and there she was. Claire, her parents flanking her like bodyguards, stormed in. Her eyes were bloodshot, her voice loud enough to shake the walls. You think you're smart? She spat. You're ruining my life? Give me what I deserve, or you'll regret this. The parents crossed their arms, glaring. In that moment, I realized Claire wasn't just playing a game anymore. She was cornered. And cornered people can be dangerous. Claire stood in my office, trembling with rage, her parents flanking her like a courtroom jury. Her father's face was red, her mother's lips pressed into a thin line. They were there to intimidate me, to guilt me into compliance. But instead, they'd walked right into the trap. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even stand. I calmly slid the manila envelope across my desk. Before you say another word, you should probably see this. Claire snatched it, ripped it open, and froze. Photo after photo of her and her lover at hotels. Receipts paid directly from our joint account. Screenshots of transfers. Her eyes widened, her throat tightening as her parents leaned closer. Her mother gasped first. Claire, what is this? Her father's glare shifted from me to her. Tell me this is fake. Claire's lips parted, but no words came out. For the first time in weeks, she wasn't in control. The room tilted in my favor, and I pressed the advantage. You accused me of controlling behavior, I said slowly, looking directly at her parents. You filed lies in court. You told everyone I was dangerous. Meanwhile, I gestured to the pile of evidence. This is where our money went. Claire's father's face twisted. You lied to us? His voice was sharp enough to cut glass. She stammered, reaching for excuses. I needed space. He wasn't giving me space. Doesn't come with hotel bills and married men, her mother snapped, voice cracking with humiliation. I sat back, folding my arms. You came here demanding I give her what she deserves. Well, she's about to get exactly that. Full exposure. The court sees this, her lawyer sees this, and if I choose, so will his wife and kids. The silence was crushing. Claire's bravado cracked completely. She dropped into the chair across from me, her hands shaking. "Hey, please," she whispered. "Don't do this. Don't ruin me.
Ouch.
We can work something out." Her father's glare shifted back to me, but now it was tinged with resignation. He cleared his throat. What will it take to keep this quiet?" There it was. Negotiation. Exactly what I had predicted. I leaned forward. Simple. Divorce on my terms. No alimony. No claims to my house. You walk away clean and I don't file for damages or release this evidence. You get silence. I get my freedom. Claire's father clenched his jaw, then gave a stiff nod. Claire tried to protest, but her mother silenced her with a single glare. They had come to strong-arm me and left broken. Within weeks, the divorce was finalized. Claire signed every page without another word. Her reputation shattered. Her parents barely looked at her in court, and her lover. His wife found out anyway. Turns out, I didn't even need to make the call. Karma handled that for me. The day it was finalized, I walked out of the courthouse with the sun on my face, lighter than I'd felt in years.
Adam slapped me on the back and laughed. "You didn't just win, man.
You wrote the playbook?" And maybe he was right. Claire thought she could manipulate me with threats, lies, and family pressure. But in the end, the truth was heavier than all of it. She wanted control. Instead, she handed it to me, and I never gave it back. And that's how I turned the tables in a battle I never expected to fight. Sometimes, when people push you to the edge, the only option is to fight smart, not just fight hard. If you've ever been in a situation where someone tried to control you or manipulate the truth, drop a comment below. How did you handle it? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this, where life throws curveballs and we learn how to swing back.